It's like putting everything on a credit card. Like, it was cool when you were shopping at the first of the month and you got to buy this and that, and ooh, and this is nice too, but now the bills due. Good morning. Welcome to the episode of Hard Foul Radio. Appreciate you for tuning in today. It is Monday, September 6th. It is Labor Day. Also, shout out to my editor who will probably hate me because I'm getting this to him late. Let's start off with this. As I've said before and on multiple times, I'm not the college football guy, but it was really cool to see college football this weekend. The stadium's packed, fans back. The energy and atmosphere around college sports is just different than professional sports. Usually professional sports, you get more quote unquote like bandwagons or people that just like you because you're a popular team or popular players or you're winning. That always helps. With college though, it's a lot more. It's alumni, it's people that have been to the school, it's people whose parents went to the school. It's a connection that professional sports just doesn't have. So even someone like me who's not the biggest college football guy, when you just watch the game and you see the experience, right? Like, you don't have to love movies, which I'm not, to recognize though there was great production put into this, or this was an event. And college football across the board, it was an event. It was so cool to see. But we all knew that. We all knew once everything we've gone through the last 18 months to have fans back in the stands, like that atmosphere, the electricity, the excitement, that part would all be great. I say that also to say, please don't be stupid. If you're someone, and we're not getting, if you're someone who is not vaccinated, you're someone who is not taken care of or been respectful about social distancing and other those policies, please don't go screw it up for everybody. Like, don't be stupid. I'm begging you. I can't shut down again. I can't just wake up and there be no sports. I can't do it. Please. Now that we're done with that, we have 3 days until the first game of the National Football League season for 2021. The defending Super Bowl champion, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tom Brady's really just going to ruin my life forever, versus the Dallas Cowboys. I'm probably the only sports show that really talk about the Dallas Cowboys because I don't think they're actually that relevant in terms of real sports news. They're just this brand that's been bigger since before I was alive. So I understand they attract ratings naturally. But since it is two NFC teams, we're going to start with our NFC predictions for the year. I'm going to give you NFC predictions today. I'm going to give you AFC predictions tomorrow. And then I'm going to give you playoff runs on Wednesday and also our Super Bowl champion. And then obviously, as we roll into the season, more headlines and stories will hopefully go with that. Starting with the two teams that will be playing, we'll start with those divisions. So in the NFC South, I think this is the easiest one to call. I think the Buccaneers, they're Super Bowl contemporaries. The Saints are rebuilding, and I like Jameis Winston with that team, but Drew Brees isn't there anymore. They've been in salary cap hell the last couple years to try to make it work with Drew Brees his last couple seasons. It's like putting everything on a credit card. Like, it was cool when you were shopping at the first of the month and you got to buy this and that, and ooh, and this is nice too, but now the bills due. And this team is just in financial hell right now as far as how they're constructed. I understand why they did it. If I was a fan or even someone in the organization, I would have done the same thing. You only get a Drew Brees every, once a franchise. The Panthers, I think, will be better, but I think they're still in that like under 500. I think Sam Darnold comes out and has a good year and proves he can play, and he's not just what was with the Jets, but I think they're still in that under 500 territory. But they prove Sam Darnold can play. And the Falcons, I just don't know. I think the Falcons will be better than people give them credit for. I don't see a wild card coming out of this division. I think the wild card all comes out of one division. So the Falcons, they would be my boom or bust for this year. I think the Falcons have a chance to be 11-6 or 12-5. Now with the 17-game schedule, still sounds weird to say, but they're not good enough to beat the Bucs. I think the Bucs win 13-14 games, either 13-4 or 14-3. This is the easiest one to call. Then to the NFC East, where the Cowboys play. Why are we disrespecting the Washington football team? Like, do we understand the Washington football team has maybe the best defense in the conference? They have one of the most underrated receivers in Terry McLaurin the last 2 years, who's really a mini DeAndre Hopkins if you consider he's had over 2,000 yards the last 2 seasons with 6 different quarterbacks, and the average fan can't name half of them. As well as Ryan Fitzpatrick isn't terrible. Like, we might not love Ryan Fitzpatrick. He might not be a franchise quarterback, but he's not terrible by any means. So they have a real good chance, and they have a rookie running back who got 1,000 scrimmage yards in 10 games. Think about that. Like, this is genuinely a good football team. They don't have the brand that the Cowboys have or the historical relevance that the Giants have or the Eagles have, but The Eagles are once again going to be in that low 6-7 win total, but can Jalen Hurts play? If Jalen Hurts, similar to Sam Darnold, they're just trying to win 6 or 7 games and show that their offense works. Because if that works, that is far more credible and important for them going forward. They don't care about winning this season. Washington, I think, wins this division going away. I think they'll be the quote-unquote surprise team, even though they really shouldn't be if you really look at their roster and what they did last year. I mean, hell, they gave Tom Brady and the Bucs hell with Taylor Heineke. Think about that. There's a difference between Taylor Heineke, who played his ass off, versus Ryan Fitzpatrick, who is a 14, 15-year NFL veteran. The Giants, once again, I think the Giants will be okay. I think they're probably going to be 8 or 9 wins, depending. But once again, they're more about Daniel Jones has to prove this works. And I think the Giants get off to a slow start, but I think they end well, which gets Daniel Jones 5 or 6 starts heading into next year where they can be a more serious threat to the Washington football team. But those 2 divisions, Washington and Tampa Bay, those are first 2 division winners. Then we go to the North. This is another one real easy. The Packers win this division. The Lions won't be that good. The Vikings, I think there's a lot of talent still left here, but it's kind of like talent on its last legs. Unfortunately, once again, they put a lot of money. They swiped their credit card a lot a couple years ago when they thought they had a chance to go to the Super Bowl. And now, because they didn't, Bills time to pay the bills, and Kirk Cousins has a terrible contract and has underperformed. The Bears, I think, will be fun to watch with Justin Fields. I think he gets in there around weeks 3 or 4. Andy Dalton won't be terrible, which is why I understand Bears fans wanting Justin Fields in immediately, but Andy Dalton won't play terrible, which will keep him in, anywhere from 3 to 6 games realistically. But then when Justin Fields come in, I think they'll be more exciting, but they're not quite a playoff team. The Packers win this division. I said in my power rankings during the offseason, the team with Aaron Rodgers is the 4th or 5th best team in the league. Whether he got traded or stayed in Green Bay, they are one of the top 5 teams because they have Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, and this is a weaker division. Now, for what is probably the toughest division in football, and probably I'm using loosely, I think there's not really a question this is the toughest division in football. I'm not picking win-loss records. I don't really care to do that. I don't have the time really to go through the schedule, pick every single game. I see guys do that on TV to look smarter. It doesn't really matter, because if you win your division, I don't care if you win it with 11 games or 12 games or you win it with 13 games. Like, we know who the best teams are. And in the NFC West, I do think the Rams are the best team in this division. I think the Rams win this division, but I believe both the 49ers and Seahawks are wild cards. I really like, I'm a big Matthew Stafford fan. I think he's going to come out and prove that he was never the problem in Detroit. Like, Matthew Stafford has arm talent that will let him play till he's 40 if he wants to, and over. Aaron Donald, this defense, Jalen Ramsey, this is still going to be a top 5 defense, has a chance to be a top 5 offense. This feels like what they were when they went to the Super Bowl a couple years ago, but Matthew Stafford is better than Jared Goff. The Niners and Seahawks, the Seahawks have Russell Wilson, DK Metcalf. They have a bunch of high-end stars, and Russell Wilson just doesn't lose. That's what he does. The Niners are the interesting team, because I think whether it's Garoppolo or Trey Lance, and I do think Garoppolo gets the majority of the starts, and I've actually got him playing out the entire season. This is what the Chiefs were. Everything's really good about this team. They have a quarterback who they know is not their future, Alex Smith, but is more than good enough to get them to the playoffs and possibly further. And they have Trey Lance, who needs more reps, and he'll be able to practice and sit and watch Jimmy G for the entirety of this season. But I think that gets them the other wild card. And as soon as I say that, there is a 7th wild card. I'm kind of, I guess, old school on this, apparently, because I grew up my whole life with 6 wild cards. The 7th wild card, it'd be funny, because, I would argue that Arizona should be that 7th team. I don't think they get there. This is where I would put, a tie. It's either going to be the Falcons or the Giants, I think, get this. Like I said, out of the teams that can possibly play up to and their offense get hot and keep them in games. If Daniel Jones, who, like I said, I think the Giants get a lot more wins on the back end of their schedule. If they get more wins, though, than I predict on the front end, those back end wins might be enough to get that 7th wildcard spot, or I believe 7th wildcard spot will go to Atlanta. This just doesn't really feel like I hate to say this, it doesn't feel like a real playoff team to me. I don't have enough confidence in either of those teams. I don't think either of them would do well in any playoff game, whereas I feel like the other teams I mentioned, besides me feeling there is a gap between Tampa Bay and everybody else, it's not huge. I think there's a bigger gap between 1 and 2, who I believe the Rams are 2, than between 2 through 6, whereas 2 through 6, I wouldn't be shocked if like the Rams lost to the Niners in the wild card weekend. I feel like the NFC is that close, except for that 7th wild card team. I don't feel like they're that good, but they're there.